It,
watch what
it
you say
was
now.
it was a grab thing at our fall conference from from our call center people, the people who run our call center.
Oh, nice.
It was kind of cool.
Nice to be high tech. I'm still using a pull start on my computer.
Mhm.
That's enough out of me tonight.
I am lucky I have a computer. There's that.
I
There,
hate when
now
the
I can
recoil
see you
breaks
guys.
on the pull start.
Yes. Or your arm goes out. Right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the pull start on my defibrillator.
It's kind of cool because it goes right around your camera. And so it's right in front of my face, which makes it a little bright for me. But I do not have very many lights in my house. So I have 2 in the living room. That's it. So
And I'm still old school here. My daughter had to ask me why I have a table lamp sitting on my kitchen table right now.
I got a desk lamp.
yeah,
Did that help at all?
I do on my desk.
Probably not.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good to see so many people here tonight.
Hi, Matt.
Hi.
Oh my God, I spent all evening entering in our den meetings between now and January, middle of January. And if you don't update your cell phone, so like you either have to update your location or you have to turn it off and turn it back on to reset the time zone on your phone, the times on your events are all messed up.
Uh-oh.
I got so many text messages from Keith last night. Like, the time is wrong. And I'm going, you're crazy. The time isn't wrong.
I had
It
a
took
lot
a
of
while for us to figure it out.
I had a lot of on the hike.
Yeah,
On Sunday, they're like it changed from 1 to 2 because of daylight savings time.
Yeah.
What it shows up is it shows the time, but it says CTS. So if it has CTS on there, it's an hour off. So
Until you reset your, like I had an update yesterday. So my phone shut off and came back on. And my times were fine. So it was quite an interesting little thing to learn about Facebook.
and the problem there is you can fix it on your phone, but if someone else has it and they don't know about it, then they're gonna be the times will be wrong.
Yeah, it's on the recipient's phone. It's not on the person creating it.
Come on, Betta.
Sounds like a glitch.
Right? I was very annoyed by the fact that it changed the time on my event. That was kind of annoying.
Yeah. Zach, do you need people to post their scouting community number as well, or are we doing self-assign?
We've got self-assign out there, but if you throw your community number in there, I might be able to assign people during the announcements.
Cool.
If you need to know what scouting community you are, just do the raise your hand thing.
Yeah, you can send Elizabeth or I a message.
Dirk, you need to know where you're at.
Dirk, you're in community 7.
I've got a GPS tracker for that.
I got it. Didn't you guys see 7?
Well, Dirk usually has to ask his wife where he's going most days.
Oh.
That is true. That is true.
Ouch.
I have to ask you what day it is too.
Valid point.
All right, did we, so I see Tom Fleming and Christopher Lloyd need to know their scouting community.
Yeah, I sent Tom
Got
a
it.
message here.
Okay. Kim from Pack 77. All right, very good. All right, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We've got, this is an exciting night because we have a chance for leaders from packs and troops and crews to work together and to connect and to make some plans for what's going to be going on in the future. I'm going to start the slideshow here. So a couple of things, reminders, meeting etiquette for our Zoom meeting. As we said before, if you could share your name and unit number and also your scouting community number in chat, we can get things lined up. However, there should be self-assign or self-select for the breakouts later. So if you don't get sent to a scouting community, you should be able to choose your own. You can also use chat if you have any questions, and also just be aware of any background noise. If there's a lot of background noise where you're at, please use mute just out of respect for others in the meeting. So our planning team is up here. You can contact any of us at any time if you have suggestions or questions about future content. A lot of our content is suggested by National BSA. However, we do our own thing once in a while when we feel that it's relevant and useful for leaders. So let us know if you have suggestions or questions. So with that being said, we are going to do our opening. And I think I saw David is on, correct?
Yes, I am.
All right, so David's going to lead. So last month we had some slides to help out with this, and this was kind of geared towards our cub leaders to help, slides that might be able to help your scouts learn things like the scout oath and law. So we'll put those up as we're going through these in our opening. All right, David, take it away.
Okay, to begin with, if you're in uniform, scout salute. If you're not, hand over heart. So scout salute, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United
States of
America,
and
to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation
nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good. Okay, scout sign. So Cub Scouts, 2 fingers up, and Boy Scouts, all 3 together. Scout oath. On my honor,
I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the scout law
To help other people at all times,
at all times,
to
to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake,
morally
and
straight.
morally straight.
Okay, continuing with the scout sign and scout law. A scout is
Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, reverent.
Just a side note on the scout law. A lot of times I've heard troops go flying through that. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. You should really make sure you slow that down so people can think about what each of those things mean. Okay, so let's finish.
That's really some stuff. We've been trying to hide all these tabs.
Okay, let's finish up with the outdoor code. So could you go one slide? Okay, as an American,
I will do my
Do my
best
best
to be clean in my outdoor manners.
be
Careful
careful
with fire.
be
Be
considerate
considerate in the outdoors.
and be conservation
conservation.
minded. Two.
Oh, this is so, you're gonna be that piece of crap, aren't you?
All right. Thank you, David. All right. Before we go on, we do want to take just a moment to recognize and to thank all those who have served. And also, if you're a family member of someone who has served, we all know that there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into that as well. So thank you to all of our veterans and to their family members. All right, so tonight's format, we've got a safety moment and some safety and health issues to discuss and go through. There's some policy changes that we're going to cover. And then we do have some updates from the council about things that are upcoming in the near future and also a little bit more long-term, thinking ahead to next spring and next summer. And then following that, we are going to get connected and our scouting communities will work together to do some planning and so forth. Okay, so Elizabeth is going to give us a little overview of the Guide to Safe Scouting. Elizabeth, do you want to share your screen or do you want me to? I have it up on mine as well. What do you prefer?
If you could put that up, that would be great.
Yep. Okay.
Great. So many of us, we all know about the Guide to Safe Scouting, and it's quite a large document. It has everything you need to know about working in your pack or troop and making sure the activities that you do follow the Guide to Safe Scouting. But there's a way to just have a one-page checklist, and that's called the Sweet 16. So if you haven't heard of the Sweet 16, you can see the link to it there. And as you scroll down, Matt, you can see what are the key 16 areas. And it really helps you just make sure that these are all covered with any activities. Qualified supervision, those are trained leaders. Physical fitness, are the scouts and the leaders able to do it? Do you have to make sure that there's a buddy system? Have you looked at the safety of the area or the course? What equipment is needed? Especially personal safety equipment, as that is, especially in the higher adventures. What are the safety procedures that are needed? And especially the skill level limits. You know, in scouts, there's usually several age groups and different levels. So just because you're in like Scouts USA, it might not be for everyone. So make sure that you're not putting anyone at risk. Of course, we all know about the weather and planning for that. And making sure the scouts are part of the planning and looking at making sure you have experienced leaders that are looking at the plans and having contingency plans. Making sure that while you're out there in the activity that you have the ability to communicate with each other, and any plans or notices that need to be sent out. Of course, having first aid resources available at all times for any type of activity and following the applicable laws for that area. Here, if anything happens, CPR as a resource, what would you do? And especially setting it up for the discipline event at the event. And setting that up front. It's a lot easier to tell what the rules are for an activity before you start it versus trying to add them as you see things starting to get a little crazy. So this is a really helpful Sweet 16 that you can print off of the website, and more information is there as well under the Guide to Safe Scouting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That's a really nice resource. I think I looked, the actual guide to safe scouting is like 82 pages long.
Right.
So this is a little bit quicker and easier to get the information we need.
Especially when you're just starting to look at activity, just use these 16 points.
Right. Okay. So we are going to jump to another health and safety update. And I think I saw, is Chester on?
Yes, I am.
All right, so Chester's going to give us a health and safety update that's coming from National in the next few months.
All right, so on the present health forms, the only thing that they suggest is having a tetanus shot, vaccine for that. The new forms will be actually coming out starting in December, but they'll be required starting in June of 2022, that those forms will have to be used. The new thing about these forms are that there's a whole list of vaccinations that the scouts must have, including tetanus, measles, mumps, rubella. I remember the entire list. Oh, there it is. Mumps, measles, varicella, polio, all those things that need to be done, those are required. And then the strongly recommended list is COVID, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, pneumonia, influenza. There's several different influenzas, papillomavirus, meningital I can't even talk tonight, I'm sorry. But anyway, those things are highly recommended. So the first camp, we're not going to be requiring it because we don't have more than 72 hours. All the camps that are 72 hours or more will require that health form Part B or Part C to be filled out by a physician so that can be checked. Our centennial celebration in May is not more than 72 hours, but we still encourage the scouts and leaders to have those vaccinations on board just because we're going to be gathering large numbers and that would be a health and safety concern. So those are the big things coming out with the health forms coming up next year.
Excellent. Thank you, Chester. Okay, so now we're on to some of our council updates. So first is an update about the BSA National Settlement. Zach is going to cover this one.
Yeah, so charter organizations may have gotten something in the mail recently from national office. If you guys have any questions about what they got in the mail, or if you've looked it over as a unit and have questions after looking it over, we're having a meeting next Thursday at 7 p.m. to kind of keep the Thursday 7 o'clock theme going. And we'll kind of answer all the questions there, go over it a little bit, what it was about, why it was sent out and things like that. So if you've got any questions, bring them to that session right there. If you can't make it, you can always feel free to reach out to Joe via email or call the office and we'll get you connected to him. So.
All right, thank you. I don't know, I didn't see, was Kevin on?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Kevin, popcorn.
Yeah, so final popcorn pickup will be next Thursday. So for those units that had a take order placed with the council, we have most of your product already at the office and stage. So we're going to do the pickup at the office, but we're waiting for a little bit more microwave popcorn and chocolate covered pretzels to fill some of the orders. So I'll be reaching out as soon as that product comes in to let units know they can pick it up at the office. And then payments are due to the council on the 19th. So if you have, if you sold show and sell product, you probably have a payment due unless your unit sold more online or sold more credit cards than cash sales. Then Trails End a lot of times would be owing the unit money through ACH is how they get that to the unit. Instead of like previously where, with Pecatonica, we were sending checks through the council in December. So that's something to be aware about. Other things to clean up would just be if you did the Trails End Rewards program, the Amazon gift cards, The colonel will have to go in there and release those to the scouts. And that's all done electronically. So the scout parent will get an Amazon code that they can type in to redeem their gift card. But before they can redeem theirs in their scout app, the unit needs to release it first. And then last, as you see on there, direct sales will be going on now through the end of the year online. So that's where different incentives throughout the bonus points on Trails End side. But those will all count towards the rewards, whatever they earn throughout the rest of the year. And right now they're doing $55 and more on orders will get free shipping. Then lastly, I just wanted to mention if there's anyone interested that was involved, especially if your unit or you yourself were involved with Pecatonica and with Trails End in the past, 3 to 4 years. We'd like your feedback as we're going to be exploring, which popcorn companies will potentially go with for next fall. So we are going to get a committee together of volunteers to kind of start exploring that, in December, and then try and have some kind of bigger meeting or pitch meeting probably in January or February of next year.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. All right. Some reminders on recharter. I don't know, Zach or Tim, do you want to cover this one?
Yeah, I can, Matt. So the big thing about recharter this year, and we should probably have Tim talk about it since he got his done already, is it's on Scoutbook this year. It's no longer in its own system. Really kind of the instructions that you need. I did send out a link that National put together a tutorial for it. It does kind of walk you through all the steps. It's not too long, but it's, recharter this year should be pretty straightforward as long as everything is in the system correctly. So, reach out to us, and really we've got a printed roster out of this is what we have in the system, and you can kind of review that roster. And if you say, oh, this person's no longer with us, you're going to know during the process, you're going to have to drop that person off, or you're going to see, hey, this youth isn't signed up. That means maybe we haven't gotten an application into the office yet, or nobody's hit, accept on beascout.org. So you can kind of take care of a few of those things before you even log in. You're also going to want to check youth protection. So as long as your leaders are all up to date, it should, like I said, it should be fairly easy. But everything's online, including the signatures. So if that means your charter rep is not too tech savvy, now is the time to start talking to them. So that way, they're due December 19th, and we don't want to kind of leak that into the holidays. So get in touch with them now and try and get them, oriented on how they have to accept that online. You can follow the tutorial video right there. If you, this is posted on the site afterwards, but if you need me to send you that link, I can do that as well. The biggest thing is if you're nervous, or you haven't done a recharter before, or you just don't want to go into it without any help, we're going to be doing a training on November 16th or December 1st. You can register for those trainings. The one on November 16th will be at the Scout office, but you can also log in via Zoom. And then the one on December 1st, we're going to kind of see who wants to meet in person, and then pick a location based off of who's selected in person. If we've got, 5 people from the Sparta-Toma area and only 1 person from La Crosse, then we're going to head out that direction. But both of them you can access also via Zoom. It's just nice to have somebody to kind of look at the same screen you're looking at. But if you've got any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or Nikki at the office. And then I don't think Tim's on tonight, but Tim Matting is up to date kind of on everything that the recharter is doing. And he's pretty knowledgeable how the process works too. So.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Okay. So we've got a camporee coming up this spring. Eric, I know you're on. I don't know if Todd was on. You want to cover this?
I certainly can. Yeah, so first weekend in May 6th and 7th, we're planning 6th, 7th, and 8th, excuse me. We're planning a Very special event, kind of a one of a kind event for all programs within the council. So that's Cubs, Scouts BSA, Adventure Crews, Explorers, all of them are invited to participate in this event. The Cubs would just come up on one day, the 7th, but the older Scouts would be there the entire weekend. The older Scouts are going to set up displays, exhibits, and then the Cub Scouts and the older Scouts would do round robin, checking out what all of the units have to offer. It's really supposed to be a really cool special event, and we super highly encourage everybody to participate. So try not to schedule another pack or troop event that weekend, and make sure you're out to take part of all the cool activities we have planned for the Spring Camporee. I think one of the really highlights of this whole thing is going to be the Fire Bowl on Saturday night on the 7th. And that's going to be pretty special. And I keep thinking of what this place is going to look like when we get every single inch of that Fire Bowl filled with people watching a very special celebration with fun, awards, songs, skits. It's just going to be pretty cool. We're not going to overwhelm it with, just skit after skit after skit. It's going to be a little bit of everything just to keep it exciting and fresh and moving forward. So please encourage your units to show up for this. It's going to be great.
And this would also be a good time for our troops to start planning their displays, correct? Think about what you can exhibit, what you can show scouting skill wise.
Yes, absolutely. And if your troop has an idea, the perfect person to talk to would be Dirk. So Dirk is leading the Scouts BSA effort on planning all of the Scouts BSA exhibits.
Eric?
Someone had a question, where is this? Yes, Camp Decorah.
Yes, Camp Decorah.
Eric, we're looking for singers. I want to put together a choir for the event, the bowl show.
Good. So if you want to be a singer, contact you, Elias.
Yep, if you got youth, and if there's adults that want to be part of a choir, I've got some ideas for some really fun songs that we could do at the show.
Are previous scouts invited to this?
Sure.
Okay.
Also, if any adult leaders want to volunteer to help out, contact Eric or myself.
Could we do some sort of display of model rocketry at this event?
That would be a great thing for your troop to do, Elias.
You got it.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. Okay, so shortly after the camporee, we're going to be starting to think about summer camp. So we've got some exciting news about Cub Scout summer camp next year. And I believe Kelly and/or David are going to talk about this.
Yep. I'd be happy to start and then turn it over to David. First off, we were very excited and thrilled to have Cubs at Camp Decorah last summer, or this summer past. Exciting for the scouts, exciting for the leaders, exciting for the kids, exciting for my staff, because it's the first year that we actually had to work with Cub Scouts, and it was just awesome. And the evaluations were just fun to read, and all the fun that the staff had. And we look forward to it because this year Camp Decorah has almost the entire staff returning, which is really, really great for the program as we keep it going and just to build up that Cub Scout program as well. As you can see, the dates, July 5th through the 7th is our Weebles overnight camp. Cub Scout overnight camp is July 7th through the 9th. The Cub Scout 24-hour camp, which is something new we're doing, a little bit of bits and pieces that you can get kids used to scouting. That's July 30th and 31st. And then a week-long day camp is August 8th through the 12th. And once again, we encourage you to get every one of your Cubs to summer camp, because camping is such a vital, important part of the whole scouting experience. And I'm gonna turn it over to Dave to talk a little bit about the programs.
Okay, well, if you look at your calendars, you'll see that the Weebles overnight camp is midweek, and part of that is because you can get by without having one parent for every cub or every Webelos. So it might be a little easier to get enough adult help there. But it's going to be Mission Cub Possible. Again, we are going to have a number of different programs that they can do. They have to pre-register for 3. The programs are Aquanaut, Into the Woods, Castaway, Build It, Earth Rocks, and Engineer. So there's 3 adventure pins they can work on. The Cub Overnight Camp will be Thursday through Saturday. And again, hopefully the parents have to be there with a scout and stay with them. There's a number of belt loops for tigers, wolves, or bears. Again, working on a lot of those things. But for both of these Webelos and cubs, they have to pre-register for the programs that they want to have, so we can plan ahead at the camp and be prepared to serve them properly. The 24-hour camp, as Kelly mentioned, is called Bits and Pieces. For those that may not be comfortable spending a number of nights away from home or have never spent a night away from home, it'd be just one night, and we'll hit a lot of the bits and pieces, different areas in camp, so they get a good idea of what's going on. The week-long day camp is going to be themed Lost in Space. And again, activities every day for all of the cubs and Webelos to hit. Oh, well, they had rockets, Elias, okay. Flying rockets is one of the things. Astronaut themed activities, exploring the galaxy. So we'll have a lot of activities there for them. We do have a flyer that's about ready to go out. I don't know if you can, probably can't see that too well, but it should be coming out fairly soon, I think. That will give more detail on these things. Okay, I think there was one more slide, wasn't there? But I don't think that's just, oh yeah. And Kelly can kind of talk maybe a little bit more about this. We hope that you can schedule a time to have people come out and talk to your packs about the programs and the things. Kelly, do you want to talk a little bit about what you did last year?
Sure, Dave, thanks. What we did is we had people that contacted the council office and let us know when their packs were meeting. And then we had some staff come out just to talk to your Cub Scouts and just kind of get them excited about Camp Decorah and the programs coming up for summer camp. As it says there, we answered a lot of questions for the parents that they may have if they've never been to camp. The games, songs, a lot of activities for the Cub Scouts. While we were also talking to the parents as well. Yeah, about 20 minutes is all it takes, just to go in there and get them all riled up, and then we leave, which is great. So 1 month notice is preferred, but once again, if you'd like us to come out, bring some of the staff out to talk to your Cub Pack about Camp Decorah and about Summer Camp 2022, we'd be more than happy to do it.
Good.
All right, thank you very much. Exciting stuff coming. Okay, just as a reminder, I know we may have some leaders that are newer. As far as roundtable schedules, we always meet the second Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock via Zoom. And what we've set up is a system where we go every other month where we have scouting community meetings as part of roundtable. So that's this month, the November meeting. Our December meeting, which will be on the 9th, that we'll be back to having just 2 breakouts, one for Scouts BSA leaders and another one for Cub leaders to discuss more kind of program specific things for those levels. So you can see the schedule there, and we are planning to meet through May. All right, so now we're to the portion where of our meeting where we're going to work on getting connected with our scouting communities. And so our scouting community guides have some things to discuss when we do go to breakout. We're going to get some introductions because this is really exciting. This is the first time that our scouting communities are all meeting with troops and Cubs all in the same scouting community meeting together. In past meetings, we've done just Cubs or just Scouts BSA, but now we're all getting together so that we can do some coordinating across the entire program from the lowest level up to the older scouts and the higher levels. So some items that that the community guides will guide you to discuss and connect on are den chiefs, and if you're using those and how you're using those and what you need to get started if you're not. We're going to give you a little bit more information about den chiefs here in just a minute. It is time to start thinking about crossover for our Webelos 2s. And so doing some coordinating and connecting to find out what's going on with crossover. We'll look at that. We'll also discuss possible future events that the pack and troop could coordinate and work together on. Things like winter camp or Pinewood Derby or blue and gold scouting for food. And it's not too early to start planning for things later in 2022, even possibly next summer. So that's what our breakouts will cover this month. Okay, so one of the ways that we can really work to connect troops and packs is with a den chief program. And those of us that have been around a while kind of know what this is and how it works. And but if you're new, you may be wondering, well, what's a den chief and what's their role? So we do have a short video that just gives an overview of den chiefs. The video is geared a little bit towards Scouts BSA, but it does again gives a good overview. And then once we finish that video, we have a leader who utilizes den chiefs that's going to give us a little bit more information. Okay, got to get to the correct video.
Hello, and welcome to this month's Roundtable. An essential but often overlooked part of the scouting program at the Cub Pack and troop level is the Den Chief. Not only is the Den Chief an excellent leadership opportunity for members of your troop, a well-trained Den Chief is also a much-needed assistant to the Den Leader and a remarkably effective recruitment and retention aid to the pack and troop. A trained Den Chief is much more than a helper in the room. The Den Chief is an official leadership position within the troop and unique in that the Scout must practice leadership skills primarily through leading Cub Scout dens. A trained Den Chief is an important part of the den leadership and helps the den leader plan and run den meetings. A trained Den Chief also knows a variety of resources and games for age-appropriate Cub Scout activities and understands the difference between the Cub Scouts and the Scouts BSA program. Trained is the key word. A poorly trained Den Chief may feel lost or ineffective and not be successful in the position. This poor Scout, through no fault of their own, may unfortunately not represent Scouts BSA well, or your troop. Training is available online at the BSA Learning Center and may also be available in person at your council. The training is designed to allow the new Den Chief to become confident in their role, have fun, and be successful. Choose your Den Chief carefully. A Den Chief serves as a scouting role model for both Cub Scouts in the den, the pack, and the troop. The Den Chief should be a Scout with enthusiastic Scout spirit and a willingness to be helpful, cheerful, and kind. We also recommend the Den Chief be mature enough to understand they are an ambassador for the Scouts BSA program. The Den Chief promotes scouting in general, but is also a representative of your troop. When Cubs have a positive experience with your Scout, they are more likely to cross over to the troop someday, probably even yours. How effectively a Den Chief will serve depends largely on how seriously the position is valued by the adults in both the troop and the pack. If adults rate the Den Chief position highly and treat the Den Chief as both an important member of the Cub Scout pack leadership and the troop youth leadership, the Den Chief will take the position more seriously. We can and should recognize our hard-working Den Chiefs with the Den Chief Service Award. This red, white, and blue cord worn under the left epaulette signifies that the Scout has served the pack faithfully for 1 full year, attended training, understands the purposes of Cub Scouting, is a good role model, has assisted extensively in pack and den planning and activities, and has completed 4 of these additional projects in service as a Den Chief. Den Chiefs can offer so much to both the Cub Scout and the Scouts BSA programs. They are accomplished youth leaders, role models, and excellent ambassadors of Scouting. As adult leaders, it's our job to support and empower them to succeed. Please use the rest of this breakout session time to consider the questions on the screen.
Okay, I'm going to stop there. And we're going to go back to the slideshow. Okay, and so Amber is a leader for some of our units in Onalaska, and she has some experience with Den Chiefs, and she said she was going to share with us what they do and how Den Chiefs help both at the troop and the pack level.
All right, thanks, Matt, for having me. Yeah, we've used it, Pack 69, Weave, and Troop 68. Our son Andrew actually was the first one that we kind of got into that position, mostly because he was at the meetings anyways and was like, well, what do I do? So we gave him a job. He basically took on that role, not really knowing much about it. It really was a way for him to get involved, even once he had crossed over to the troop. And it really was a good way for him to share the skills he had just learned as a Weeblo 1, Weeblo 2, and as a younger Boy Scout, and be able to share those with those younger kids. I think it is, I had a lot of talking points, but actually the video summed them up. This slide actually summed them up beautifully. But I think the biggest piece of it is if you don't have a Den Chief, there's a disconnect. I think just a little bit of a disconnect between the troops and the packs, where those boys don't get to see the bigger picture until they really hit like Weeblo 2s. If they don't have an older sibling or somebody older who's involved, they don't get to see that example, which I think is the biggest piece of it. I know Andrew has worked the last 2 pack meetings. Our last month's pack meeting that we had, him and we actually have another gal who is just thinking about being a Den Chief. They helped coordinate the activities for the kids. They helped each one of them took an age group and actually helped run the activity so that myself and Dirk and Sarah, we could actually sit with all of our new parents because we had quite a few. So it really gave us an opportunity to sit and talk to the parents, knowing the kids were, being worked with and really had those examples to be following. So that was really helpful. This last meeting, he did all the opening. He did opening flags. He did the opening ceremony. So it's really giving him the opportunity to kind of step up into that role and these younger boys to really see what the scouts do. I think it is nice too, because we do have 3 or 4 coming up Weeblo and Weeblo 2s that his face is familiar. So whether he chooses to go into the same troop Andrew's in or a different one, at least those eyes are there that they've seen them, that face is familiar. And I think that's a huge piece of it that gets missed a lot, is they're nervous. The kids are nervous, I guess, not just boys, but the Cub Scouts are nervous because they don't know anybody. It can be very intimidating with all these older scouts who have these relationships built. So whether it's a technical Den Chief who does the training, has the role, or just visibility between the troops and the packs, I think that's a piece that we've missed. And I think that's a piece that's really important for both the success, for longevity, for recruitment pieces, and really for that crossover and to keep kind of this next generation of scouts going.
All right, great. All great points.
And can I also add in that
Sure.
for the troop side, in order for the scout to advance in rank, he has to have a position of responsibility. And the Den Chief is recognized as that. So he doesn't have to be a patrol leader or assistant patrol leader or quartermaster or something. The Den Chief is recognized in this position as well. So it's for his advancement as well.
Great point. Definitely a lot of advantages for troops and the scouts that are in the troops and the scouts that are in the packs. Okay. So we are now to the point where a few minutes behind schedule, but we're going to break out to our community breakouts to discuss some of these different ways that our troops and our packs can get connected over the next few months. We would like to remind you that we're not necessarily on a time limit here. And so if we're not coming back to the main session, whenever your scout and community breakout is done, you'll just leave from there. So even if it goes past 8 o'clock, if you're in a good discussion and you need to go a little bit longer, that's okay. All right, Zach, are we ready to open the breakouts?
Yeah, I think I got everybody assigned now. And if not, you can just select what community you're in. So here we go. Does it pop up with community 3 on your screen?
It did. Yep.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure everything was set from your end or if you needed anything. Okay. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
Take care.